So, welcome to the May 2nd University Teaching and Learning group. We're starting 24 minutes late because I have no internet and I'm trying to do this from my phone, which I've never done before, and it doesn't work very well. So, today we were going to flip the group anyway, so why not flip it right from the get-go of the recording? And let me introduce our professor for the day. Elvis is one of our student ambassadors, and wanted to introduce you all to our students because we have some great students, and Elvis is one of those great students. And I was going to do a Q&A with him and then let him present. But since technology is failing me, we'll just let Elvis present because he's got a great presentation for you that we can all learn from, and it goes along with our TUG motto that everybody can teach. Everybody has something that they can teach everyone else. And so even if you are a student, you can teach. And Elvis is going to show you the way. He's got his introduction up on the screen, but what I was going to highlight is the fact that he is from Ghana, and we have international student ambassadors and international academic ambassadors all over the world. And so it is awesome to have an international professor for the day, have a student professor for the day, especially when your TUG leader of the day has technology failing him. So Elvis, take it away, complete the rest of your introduction. Give us your background, how you came in starting to work with Tableau, how you got into the Tableau and program, and teach us today.
All right. So to begin, a very big thank you to Doc for this invitation, and I'm very grateful for this opportunity. I love to teach, and this opportunity just came at the right moment. So I'm Elvis Nkrumah, and before I start my presentation, I would like to introduce myself a little bit. I'm a senior at the University of Ghana. I'm studying a combined major of computer science and statistics, and I have interest in data science, and in the future I'm seeing myself in that area. Aside academics, I'm a research and grant intern at NSB Ghana. That's the National Society of Black Engineers, the Ghana branch, where I do some monitoring, evaluation, and learning, and some research for them. Aside that, I'm a market research analyst. And on social media, I share content, I share opportunities, I share concepts in data visualization. And on LinkedIn, I'm very vibrant, sharing tips about Tableau, sharing insights about how to use the software. I came across the ambassador program. I think it was through a LinkedIn post about some volunteer roles you can do as an aspiring data professional. And as a student, I was like, oh, let me take advantage of the Tableau ambassador program. I think the time I saw the link, it was late last year, and I think I couldn't apply. So the subsequent year, I applied to be on the wait list, and when the application came, I put the application in. Before then, I was writing some blogs on some data concepts, databases, and I put it in my application that I like to share knowledge. And that's how I got into the ambassador program. And since then, I have been teaching students about this whole concept of data visualization, data analytics, and how they can begin their journeys even from the university level. And I think since then it has been very great. It has been a journey of learning, and that has brought me here today. I've hosted over 7 workshops. I record my workshops and upload them to my YouTube channel. It's called Elvis, a Tableau Evangelist, where I share my content there. I hosted a hackathon last year, I think last month, and it has been great so far. I'm still trying to increase students' interest in my part of the world, still in data analytics and to use Tableau. Today we are going to have a session, and today's session I'm going to make it interactive so that we can all be part and be involved. This session was part of my last workshop, and so I'm just going to be quite brief so that we are still in our time frame. Today we are talking about data ethics and responsible data visualization. As data professionals, it's quite normal that we do our visualizations, we draw our charts. But the concept of data ethics is something we have to have at the back of our minds to ensure that we are not just building charts, but we are building charts which communicate based on the data is from, which give great insights, which review the insights the audience should get. And this talk is on data ethics and responsible data visualization. And we believe that seeing is believing and that there is ethics behind every data point. This is our brief introduction. And yeah, this is something I've spoken about myself here. So to begin, in the year 2000, the United States had a presidential election between President George Walker Bush and AI Gore. And during that election, there was a lot of speculated visuals going in. It was a blue and red map, which was showing that some group of people were leading. Now, this chart was actually okay. So the chart is here, and people were thinking they were leading. Unfortunately, it didn't really go as planned, as the chart had a problem. It was not really conveying the if you could remember. During this same election, it led to a court case and subsequent events followed. Now, what we learned from this is that there was a twist in the map. The map was not based on the people who were actually voters who were voting for a particular candidate, but it was rather showing the distribution or the land area of the place in terms of where the political party more wins, or where the particular group or the political group really wins. And so it was quite misleading, and I think it misled a lot of people to believe they were leading. Now, this story makes us understand that, or the lesson from this is that visualizations carry power and responsibility. And so, as data professionals, we have to ensure that what we are conveying in our charts, in our dashboard, are actually true, are actually unbiased, and are speaking of the data which we got it from. Now, why data ethics? One, we are living in a dynamic world, a world in which dashboard influence decisions, not only individual decisions, but business decisions. How corporate world runs. We run on a data-driven world. We are moved by insights. And so inaccurate, biased, or misleading visuals can harm people and institutions. And so these ethical lapses can lead to miscommunication and misinformation, discrimination, and mistrust. Now, what is data ethics? As data professionals, I've made a summary of what data ethics is. So, data ethics is doing the right thing with data. Now, when we say doing the right thing with data, we are looking at it in three aspects. One, in collection. Are we collecting the data ethically? Are we collecting the data unbiased? Are we collecting the data without any discrimination? Second angle, in terms of analysis, are we representing our data fairly? Is the data conveying the insights, or our data is not clean? Thirdly, in terms of visualization, are we doing the right thing with our visuals? Are we representing it truthfully? And so these principles guide us that in doing things or ensuring data that data is or ensuring that we are using data ethically. One, there should be transparency. Two, there should be accountability. Three, there should be fairness, privacy, and inclusivity. And this is what it tells us. Now, in understanding the concept behind data ethics, we have to understand the things which often make people misled. What are the things which make people lie about data? What are the things which help or sorry, what are the things which distract people and prevents people from getting the insights they get? One is cherry picked data. Two, a truncated y-axis, unclear scales, omission of context, and overuse of visual elements, that's be it color, 3D, or etc. Now, from this chart, can somebody tell me what possible problem there is with this chart? And you can observe, and if you have any comment, you can unmute and speak. So the chart on your left, the news chart, any comments? What do you think is wrong with the chart?
Well, the axis it starts at 34, and so it makes it look like there's a huge difference when really it's not.
Great, great. That's beautiful. So you're right. Actually, with this chart, it doesn't start from zero. The y-axis has been truncated. Now, what this does is that to people, they see the difference between 35% and 39.6% as a huge gap. But really, if you check on the right, the correct visual is there. Really, when you visualize it well correctly, you should be seeing that the difference between the bars are not really huge as it is. And so this is one of the things which prevent people from seeing the real thing is the data is speaking. And one chat too. Can anyone unmute and speak? There's a it's a geographical chart showing them any issue here. Anyone can unmute and speak. Is anyone speaking? All right. So with this chart, if you observe, the first thing is in terms of the colors. There are multiple colors which are not really depicting anything. There's no legend, there's nothing telling us what the red color in some zones mean, what the green color, what the faint colors mean. And so we are not really understanding what the visual is telling us. Secondly, well, in terms of the numbers, if you'd observe, the numbers in the charts are not really representing what it should in terms of their smaller values, larger values, which are even written on top of the other. It makes seeing very, very difficult in some regions. When you want to see the values there, it's very, very difficult. And overall, looking at it at the bright side, if you check the chart itself, it's not really telling us where the data, what the data is telling us, apart from it mentioning that the number of US Americans with ancestry from European country. It's not showing us the particular European country. There's no label. There's nothing telling us which people represent this particular area. And this is one of the things which um, often lead to discrimination. Thirdly, can we observe this chart? What problem do you think there is with this chart? So this was a post on Instagram during President Trump, so it's a news, President Trump crashes Biden in Pennsylvania. Can you observe what the issue is with this chart? You can unmute and speak.
Yeah, it looks like they didn't use a zero axes.
Yes, great. Thank you very much. So with this chart, there was no zero axis, which is making it look as if the difference between 46% and 47% is so huge. But really, it's not really huge. And observing this post is not really conveying the insight. It's kind of think they are in a comfortable lead while actually they are not. And so those are some of the misconceptions which come in terms of the data showing discrimination and inaccuracies. Now, what is the concept of responsible data visualization? Now, when we say responsible data visualization, we are ensuring that the visualization practices we use are good. That is, our content is key, it's a king of what we do. So we provide a background of where your data was collected, what is the source, how did you get your data, and even which statistical techniques did you apply to clean the data. Secondly, simplicity, ensuring that the colors, the pattern is being uniform and is being consistent. We don't overuse certain colors. We don't just do dashboards which are beautiful, but rather dashboards which are insightful. Not necessarily that the dashboard should be so beautiful and so colorful, but the more important thing is that the dashboards we draw or the charts we draw should be very, very insightful. Also, we should avoid deception, no manipulation of axes, and even if axes are being truncated, the method of truncation or the method which were used to transform the data is being indicated so that people are able to interpret it in a better sense. Fourth, there should be so share assumptions used before you visualize your data, your sources, and some of the limitations you encountered. Then accessibility, considering that there are people who are colorblind, and the fonts you use must also be considered so that you're using fonts which are very visible and colors where there's high contrast so that people can see the difference between boundaries and they can see your colors and charts very, very well. Sometimes there are bias in data and design, and it's not the fault of the analyst sometimes because it could be from the source of the data that these biases could result from one sampling bias, that is the fact that we are not using a population and that we are sampling from a subset of a population, and so there could be some sampling bias. Secondly, there could be confirmation bias where you think you already have a perception of what final insight should look like, your final visualization should look like. So you just want to build something to confirm what you have already had in your mind, your perception. Also, cultural bias, and this is context specific. In some geographical regions, some colors are not being liked by the people for some particular reasons. And so all these have to bear in mind when we are building our charts. And finally, in terms of the algorithm use, there can be bias. But in all these cases, we should always have in mind that you should always question the source of your data, the method you use in your visualization, and the motivation which you used in getting the idea to do the visualization you are doing. Now, as a data analyst or as a visualizer, have it in mind that you are not just a designer, you're a storyteller. Most of the times people who design dashboard have some previous experience in graphic design, have some previous experience in UI UX design, and so they want to implement some things. It's not really bad, but have it in mind that you have to be a voice for truth and integrity, and so the charts you are doing must not only be beautiful, but they must be insightful. They have to review insights, they have to capture what the data is talking about. Think about the human impact of your visuals. Have it in mind that the visuals you are building is going to be used by businesses for decision making. And so you don't want to affect businesses by giving them wrong insights. And also, as a storyteller, ensure that you inspire ethical thinking by ensuring that your charts or your graphics or your bars or your visualization, no matter what it is, it should be very, very good in terms of visually appealing, and it should convey the story you are putting across. Now, here are some other sources we can read about to get guidelines, some ethical toolkits to get more about the whole concepts of data ethics. So the Data Visualization Society has one, and Tableau also has a data visualization, a data ethics guide, which you can use, and the rest are also there. Now, what are the takeaways for today's session? That we should build better, we should show better, and we should be better. Before publishing your chart, before publishing your dashboard, before publishing your reports, ask yourself, is this fair? Is this honest? Is this clear? Champion ethical practices in your community and start conversation on responsible data in dashboard challenges. Let's build a more ethical data world. And if there is anything you have learned from this session, and if there's any takeaway, what is one thing you do differently? So anyone can unmute and speak.
Oh,
Hello, is someone speaking?
I was going to say, I thought you made some great points that I'm going to certainly use some of what you said in my classes,
All
and
right.
to remind students and uh, maybe even have to steal some of your slides.
Yes. Yes. So we should ensure that we are building a more ethical data world. So this brings me to the end of my session and my short presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask about the slides, any addition, anything you want to add, any suggestion you have, please feel free to ask.
Elvis, I do have one question. And how do you keep this going? So once once you start your visualization or data journey as a career or as a just as a hobby, how do you keep that of slipping out of the people's mind? Like how do you not enforce, but how you promote that people do more data ethics, more data visualizations, more ethically?
All right.
Because sometimes yeah. So for example, giving a training or giving a refreshment on how things work sometimes doesn't feel enough for some folks, and they forget things or they purposely forget things, I will say.
All right. And thank you very much, Emmanuel. And there's one thing I always do as an ambassador to help students understand that there should be a purpose or a reason behind any task you do. And so when you are drawing your charts, there should be some basic rules which guide you to ensure that you are obeying the rules of ethics. And so when we are building visualizations, when I'm having workshops where I'm selecting a particular chart, I make them understand why I'm doing a reference, why I'm stating the source of my data, why I am using a particular axis, why I'm indicating some things. So that as people are building their charts, they are having it in their mind that you are not just building charts, but there are some rules which guide you, rules to ensure that data is you are being very ethical, rules to ensure that you're obeying the rules. So it takes time, but you being consistent in repeating why some concepts, why we do certain things, why we ensure that there's no bias, referencing your sources, acknowledging your limitations. I believe it helps keep this in mind of most people as they are building their chart. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
And please, any other questions? Any addition?
I think those are all the questions that we've got.
Those are all the questions. All right. Thank you very much for the opportunity, Doc. I am very, very grateful. And thank you all, my audience. And I'm very, very grateful for listening to the presentation.
All right. Well, thank you very much, sir. If you will email me or direct message me your slide deck, I'll put the slide deck out there so all the attendees and all the members can access it. As Rex and some of those
Right.
faculty want to use some of your stuff. So, hey, send us those slides so we can use them in class. Appreciate that. So again, folks, I still don't have it. Here I am on my cell phone in my lovely home office. At least we have power and air conditioning, which is good, but we have no internet. Uh, good tip for you faculty and students out there: if you're using Google Drive or cell phone, you have to have internet access in order to do stuff on there. You can't just use cell phone access. I need Wi-Fi access to share my slide deck. So I can't even share my slide deck with anybody to have someone else present it because I have no Wi-Fi, and Google Drive won't allow me to do anything without. Who knew? I thought I might be able to do stuff on my phone as the absolute backup, but can't seem to do it. But what I was not able to share with you earlier was our my Tableau tip for today was join the Slack community, and I believe Roshni put that in the chat. The URL for that, I encourage everybody to join Slack. Slack is a really great resource, and since Salesforce is integrating a lot of stuff with Slack, I would encourage everybody to start using it and start checking it out because they're going to be integrating Slack into a lot more tools. What I was going to share was somebody on Slack from Salesforce shared a 600 slide deck with me of all the new updates coming out this spring to Tableau Server, Tableau Desktop, Tableau Cloud, all the Salesforce applications. There are tons of updates and all kinds of cool features and new things that are coming on board. And I guess I will share those next time because I don't have those slides. I think, well, anyway, so I don't have the slides to share with you, but lots of updates, lots of integration is coming. Lots of things are getting updated on the cloud. So I know faculty, you can request a cloud site. I would encourage all faculty through the Tableau for Teaching program to request a cloud site and start playing with Tableau Cloud, because there are a lot of features that Tableau Cloud can do that Tableau Desktop can't do. You need either Tableau Cloud or Tableau Server to do a lot of these new features. If you're not running your old server, if you're using Tableau Public like I am, then a lot of these features are not going to be available to you. So faculty, get on the Tableau for Teaching website and request your Tableau Cloud site over the summer. Start playing with it, seeing how you might integrate it into your classes. Third thing I was going to mention is the user groups. There are all kinds of great user groups. So I'm wearing my Community Datos hat today to say we have lots of great Tableau user groups out there. There are lots of virtual ones. There are lots of local ones, primarily here in the United States. But I do know over in Africa, the Lagos, Nigeria tug is quite active and doing lots of interesting things. So I used to live near Atlanta, and I was very involved with the Atlanta Tableau user group. But a lot of these local groups, it's where you can network, meet folks, maybe use them in your classes as guest speakers. For students, I would encourage you to go to a local tug if you can. Start networking, start seeing who these folks are. There are lots of virtual tugs out there, and there are some new ones. So if you go to the user group site where you found us and you found the event for today, go out there and look through. I think far on the right, if I can remember from looking at the screen visually in my head, far to the right is Tableau HQ. If you click on Tableau HQ, which probably a lot of you didn't, there's the Tableau DataFam user group, and they are doing tons of cool stuff, I think almost weekly over the summer. So I would encourage you all to go to the user group site, usergroups.tableau.com, look through the belonging, look through the industries, look through the different countries, and see where there might be a local tug near you. I would say to get involved with those tugs is a really great thing for you to do. So please get involved with the user groups, get on Slack, and start interacting with the community on Slack. I posted this event yesterday on Slack. We have lots of great resources out there, and I encourage you all to do that. Roshni is sharing the screen. Me being old, I can hardly see it on my phone. There's lots of great community groups out there, folks. If you go all the way to the right up there, not left, all the way to the right, Tableau HQ, that's where the DataFam group is. And they've been doing a lot of good stuff, and they're going to be doing a bunch of stuff. I think redoing some TC25 presentations. Check out the recording from our last meeting where I point you to Salesforce Plus, where there are a lot of sessions out there from TC, and I am actively lining up some folks to do a summer series of TC recordings where they were not recorded at the conference. And so we will have several meetings over the summer where we'll be doing some stuff that I think is interesting to faculty that you missed at the Tableau conference. And we will be doing, although I think I may be doing it from campus in 2 weeks, we are scheduled to do another University Teaching and Learning Tableau user group on the 16th. I have lined up another Tableau student academic ambassador that you can come and meet, who will be just as awesome as Jane was last week and Elvis was this week. And I have one of our TC presenters, Tableau ambassador. I think he's even a Tableau visionary, if I remember correctly. If I could bring it up, I would check. He's going to do a talk on, okay, you can make charts. Now, how do you take your charts to the next level? And so that should be a really fun session with him at our next meeting in 2 weeks, along with another student ambassador. And I will run through some of the useful things that I was not able to show today. So again, my apologies, but you've got to take life. I've learned that over the last 8.5 years, and especially over the last year. Life comes at you hard sometimes. You got to be able to pivot, got to be able to try. I'm going to make sure that my co-leads, especially Rex, that I've already shared the slide deck with him. So when things crash and I can't present in 2 weeks, hopefully Rex will be able to pick up for me. But hopefully we'll be able to do things next time. So my apologies, but this is great, and I'm glad you had an opportunity to hear from him. If you go out to LinkedIn, that was another thing I was going to mention today. LinkedIn and Twitter are great places to hook up with the Tableau community. I love Twitter. I love LinkedIn. And if you find Elvis out on LinkedIn, he's made several posts, including a longer version of what he presented today. So he's got about a hour-long version of this talk today and go into more detail and more info on that. He's got a link out there on his LinkedIn page. So I would encourage you all, find Elvis's LinkedIn page, link up with this kid. I'm telling you, he's going places, and I'm going to be really watching our Tableau academic ambassadors as they move forward in their careers. They're going to be great. So Rex, do you have anything to add, since you've got technology working for you better than me today? Oh, you're still on mute. We can't hear you, Rex, or at least I can't.
I didn't have much to add, but I did want to thank Roshni for jumping in and
Yes.
getting the ball rolling while we were in our downtime. So
yeah, I really appreciate you both. And I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.